Hi there, folks. Welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. I'm glad that you joined us today. We're going to have a special guest, Dr. Dee Griffin. And DocTalk is on the road. And Dr. Griffin is from the University of Nebraska, and we're going to be talking about beef quality assurance. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Well, folks, this is Dr. Dee Griffin, and Dr. Griffin is a professor at the University of Nebraska. He's a veterinarian and has been one of the people that has taught many veterinary students, practitioners, and has spent a lot of time in veterinary practice and feedlots as well. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about beef quality assurance, which Dr. Griffin knows more than most anybody I know about beef quality assurance.
Yeah, they once thought I was crazy.
Yeah, but now it's the staple. It's the cornerstone of beef production. It's the cornerstone of some of the things that we do in veterinary, most of the things we do in veterinary practice. So let's talk a little bit about the history of beef quality assurance.
Yeah, it takes us back about 22 or 3 years. Kind of got its start when the government decided that we had too many residues. And when they showed up in the beef country, we thought they were picking on us. Turns out they were picking on, not us, but they wanted everybody to clean up their act. 1980, the antibiotic residue rate in cattle was 1.8%. In swine, it was over 4.5%. And over 30% of all the canned fruits and vegetables in the United States had violative pesticide residues.
Wow.
In 1980. I happened to be at the time working with Hitch Enterprises, and when I first came to work for that Mr. Ladd Hitch, they fed about 300,000 head of cattle a year and owned a couple of packing houses. Pretty good sized farmers as well. He had a couple of letters from the FDA over violative residues. And he calls me in and he says, young man, which back in those days I was, he says, we haven't spent 100 years building this operation. It's a family business. To have our name blackened by two $500 calves. He says, I don't know how this happened, but I don't want it to ever happen again.
And that was over a drug residue?
Drug residue, a penicillin and terramycin. Turns out there was actually then a third one showed up about the same time with erythromycin. But I set out to figure out what was going on, and we were following. They had a phenomenal record system, and all the residue, all the withdrawal times on the labels were being followed to the letter of the law. Had records in triplicate. It was, and when I finally chased it down. We had animals that had been turned loose, had been treated. We followed the residue withdrawal times, but they still had violative residues.
So then we had to figure out a way to get them stopped, and that started BQA. Let me take us to a break. When we come back, let's pick back up on this. Okay. It's a great story. Thanks for joining us. You're watching DocTalk.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
It's rodeo time in Sabetha. Come to the 61st Annual Northeast Kansas Rodeo on July 16th and 17th. Steer wrestling, calf roping, bull riding, and more. It's an exciting event for your whole family. The Sabetha Rodeo. Don't you dare miss it.
Broadband has become as important to us as highways. That is why DocTalk is teaming up with NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, and rural broadband companies like Blue Valley Telecommunications in fighting for quality broadband access through the program Smart Rural Communities.
I don't think we have any idea what's coming in the future. I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago what we're doing today. So in 2 years, I would guess there's things we can't imagine that we're going to be doing.
To learn more, visit ntca.org/smart or bluevalley.net.
DocTalk, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, here with Dr. Dee Griffin from the University of Nebraska. He's a professor and he's a feedlot veterinarian who helped invent what we call today the Beef Quality Assurance Program. And as we left, we're following everything to the letter.
Well, we were talking about having some animals that rang up a positive residue, and we had followed what we thought were all the requirements. What we weren't doing is all of us when we went to school a gazillion years ago learned that, you know, if you want to use penicillin, for instance, to get a proper dose, it required about 5 times the dose that was on the bottle. And we adjusted that dose, but we didn't adjust withdrawal times. And it wasn't until that point that we figured out that when you use drugs in a manner other than they're labeled, you change the withdrawal times. And that was sort of the light come on. And actually it wasn't just a aha moment. We actually did the work to figure out what the issues were. So we started trying to figure out how to hold animals longer or test. And we adopted a test that the federal or USDA was using in packing houses for urine. Started checking urine, and when the feds showed up and said we've got to do something, Mr. Hitch called me in and he says, I'm going to volunteer our organization, because the Texas guys were kind of wanting to kill somebody, or they weren't. You know, what's going on here?
Right.
They were really suspicious. And he said, I just got to know, are we gonna be clean? And I said, if we change the way we handle the withdrawal times on animals that we use medications off other than their label, yeah, we're clean. And we signed a 40-page memorandum of understanding. And for 2 years, they went through all of our books, tore everything apart. Everything was good. And the Texans, Richard McDonald in particular, took that 40-page document, summarized it on a card you could put in your pocket with 6 bullet points, and those 6 bullet points became the first guidelines for beef quality assurance. At the time, we call it safety assurance. And everybody kind of thought about that, and it sort of implied that, well, maybe beef's not safe, and so quality kind of fell out on the table, and that's where it got its start. And those 6 guidelines are still the 6 guidelines today. We've added a couple to that. We were focusing on residues from antibiotics, pesticides, that sort of stuff. And somewhere in the middle of it, finally the light again came on and said, you know, if you handle these animals as the precious creatures from God that they are, they won't get sick. If they don't get sick, they don't have an injection site, they don't have a residue. So put animal care, animal husbandry first, and a lot of this other stuff will take care of itself. And that's kind of where we are today.
It's a great story It's a great service to our industry and to our profession. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk
Sure.
about how simple it is.
Sure.
Thanks for watching Doc Talk.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica Inc.
Hello, this is Shane Terrell with Production Animal Consultation here with the BQA Tip of the Day. Today we'd like to talk about arrival procedures on newly arrived calves. This is a set of new cattle that just arrived this morning. It's really important that we have adequate feed, some roughage in the bunk, so when they arrive in that pen they have feed in the bunk, they have a clean and easily accessible water source, enough space to lie down if desired, a clean space to lie down, and adequate bunk space so all those animals can get to the bunk all at the same time. Also, we'd like to look for how many cattle after arrival for a couple hours are standing, lying down, or resting. We're resting where they're tucking their head underneath themselves to identify pens which need more acclimation and more work in those pens.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotating cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I wanted to do it. So we did it, and it worked. And I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com. Doc Talk, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm here with Dr. Dee Griffin, and Dr. Griffin is a professor at the University of Nebraska and a veterinarian, feedlot veterinarian. And one of the things that you told me about BQA is that it's simpler than you think.
Yeah, one of the things that maybe frustrate people is they think it ought to be hard. And we have a manual that's very, very complete with all sorts of standard operating procedures and examples of forms they can use to keep track of stuff. But everything you really need to do, you could put on a 3x5 card, put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like the Bible. You know, it's a big old thick book, and you can take out what you really need to do, put it in your pocket, and live a pretty good life. Jesus would be proud.
That's right.
But when you put that all together, we have a series of guidelines, and the guidelines address care and husbandry. So if you take care of them as the precious creatures they are, and do all the management things they need to have, the vaccinations and the proper, just care for them like they deserve. the chances of them getting sick are greatly reduced.
Right.
If they don't get sick, you don't have any injection site issues. You don't have any residue issues. There's no chance for a broken needle in the meat. I mean, really. So you start with something that's really, really simple, and that eliminates the majority of the problem. When you start thinking about the other problems, they're chemical, physical, and microbiologic. Those are the targets for food safety around the world. You know, chemical would deal with residues, antibiotic. If we use something to control parasites or flies and lice, you know, we don't want any of that product to wind up in the meat. So it's a really simple matter of following the guidelines that EPA, you know, sets out for the use of that, or FDA sets out for the use of the antibiotics, or USDA sets out for the use of vaccines. Really straightforward, and you don't have a chemical issue. And they give us plenty of latitude to make adjustments for the best needs of the calf.
Right.
Health and well-being should never be jeopardized based on some kind of government regulations, but neither should the safety of the food, and we know how to do that. Then comes comes physical. So things like a broken needle. Nobody really wants to. You might think an 18-gauge needle would be like a toothpick in your roast would be a value-added thing, but most people don't see it that way. But if you buy good needles, if you ever bend or damage a needle, you change it. You don't. And understanding how that kind of stuff happens. One of the things that we say in quality assurance is there are no most valuable players. So everybody's in on this deal. And one of the things that we learned early on is if you get really good restraint, they don't wiggle, they don't bend a needle.
Right.
And the last one is microbiologic. We do the best we can. You feed clean feeds, you don't cross-contaminate, you make sure the nutritionist doesn't step in the bunk as he's going on into the pen. So if I have any cow manure in my cow's pen, you got to keep the nutritionist kind of in line.
We'll try our best. Let's take a break, and let's come back, and let's talk more about BQA and keeping it simple.
When looking at the number of farm and ranch operations, the USDA Census of Agriculture says cattle and beef production is the largest single segment of American agriculture. The census also says the average age of the American cattle farmer or rancher is in the late 50s. In order to support the continuous supply of U.S. beef, these producers need to do some business planning to successfully transfer their cattle operations to younger, independent producers.
My name is Sam Hands. I'm part of the operation here south of Garden City, Kansas, known as Triangle H. Our operation starts with an irrigated farming operation and also involves cow-calf as well as farm feedlot. So obviously the beef industry is very important to us as a marketing tool of those products grown on our irrigated farm. I feel especially privileged not only to be a part of the beef industry, but to have had the opportunity to be one of the original 6 delegates from the state of Kansas as the beef checkoff system was established back in 1986. And as I reminisce back at that times back there in the early meetings in the mid-80s and early 90s, to me it was very humbling and gratifying to see all segments of the industry come together with a common goal, and that was to advance the sustainability of the beef industry and by way of a product that was going to bring satisfaction to our consumer.
Hi, I'm Marissa Kleistuper, and ever since I was a little girl, I have always known that I wanted to grow up and work alongside my dad. He has been my hero since I can remember, and got the opportunity to come back home and work alongside my dad on a daily basis and learn from him and watch the family operation continue to grow. And the other best part of my day is my 2 boys get to come alongside and work with us and learn from my dad as well.
But more than anything, as I look at this whole program, is what it's allowed us to do as a sustainable program in the beef industry, and it's allowed us to bring future generations into the operation in order that the beef industry might be sustainable for the future. My pride and my pleasure to have my daughter and her children to be part of our company here as Triangle H. Thank you.
Support Kansas agriculture education with an AgriTag. Agri-tags are available anytime at your county treasurer. They look great on cars and trucks. For more information, go online to ksagclassroom.org.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Dee Griffin. He's from the University of Nebraska. He's a veterinarian and professor. And we're talking about the Beef Quality Assurance Program. We've talked about the history and we've talked about its simplicity. Keep it simple and move it forward.
Yeah, just to review about this simple issue, our guidelines talk about proper animal husbandry, use of feed them good feed, nice, check your feed, make sure it's not toxic feed. God didn't make corn pink, blue, or green. It ought to be yellow corn. That kind of stuff. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
If you use products, use them as the government asks you to use them. I mean, they've been tested, researched. The labels, regardless of what most of us think, they're there for a reason. We need to read them.
Right.
Write down, the last one is write down what you do, and then check what you wrote down before you sell it. It's just that simple. Care for them as the precious creatures, feed them good stuff, use the products according to their approvals. Write it down and check what you wrote. I mean, that fits on a simple simple card.
Yep.
The neat thing about where we're headed, when I think about where we've come from and where we're headed, is because this has been one of those no most valuable player issues where everybody gets involved. I mean, everybody, not just the vets, but it's the nutritionists and the veterinarians and the suppliers and the family members of the operation. Everybody contributes. And when you think about putting all this together and you think about where it's going, we're now getting consumers involved, which is really cool. Because the consumers are looking at, we want to know how our food's raised, and we're kind of going, so what do you think? And they're kind of thinking, as an outside eye, well, can you do this a little better? And every time we listen to anybody, frequently they come up with things that we just have forgot to look at, or we didn't see what they saw. So this last step in which we have consumer input into what we're doing will likely is not only improve the life of our cattle, improve the quality of our product, but I have a saying in my office: if you abuse a cow in any fashion, I don't care how, physically, mentally, psychologically, nutritionally, environmentally, I don't care how you do it, she takes it out of our pocketbook. And as the evil capitalists that many people think we are, it is in our own best interest to do everything as best we possibly can.
Thank you. Thanks for spending time with us today. Folks, thanks for watching DocTalk. If you want to know more about the show or see archived episodes, you can see us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Remember to always work with your local practitioner. We appreciate you watching today. Appreciate Dr. Griffin joining us today. Hope you learned a lot about beef quality assurance. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson from Kansas State University, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamandkansas.com.